You wake up with a small, quiet weight in your chest. Not fear exactly, not panic. Just that pressure that says something is due, something is waiting, something is already asking for your attention. A notification, a balance, a date on a calendar you didn't choose. You tell yourself it's normal, adult life, responsibility, but under the surface you feel it. Before the day even begins, you already owe. Debt is sold like a tool, a bridge, a smart move. Use credit to build your future. But tools don't rewrite your nervous system. Tools don't narrow your choices. Debt often does. Because debt isn't only math. It's a contract that lives in your head and your body. And when you notice what it asks from you, the word normal starts to sound different. Debt turns time into collateral. You trade future hours for present relief. You don't just borrow money. You borrow against weeks you haven't lived yet, mornings you haven't woken up to yet, decisions you haven't had the chance to make. And you hand a piece of your future away in advance. That's why debt feels heavy even when the numbers look manageable. The payment is only the visible part. The invisible part is possibility shrinking. When your future income is already assigned, your future life starts to feel assigned too. You begin to think in terms of what you can afford, not what you can become. Slowly, your definition of freedom changes. Freedom stops meaning, I can choose. It becomes, I can keep up. You call it stability. You call it being responsible. But what you're really doing is learning to live inside invisible walls without calling them walls. Debt doesn't need force to work. It needs culture. It needs to feel ordinary. If everyone around you is doing the same thing, questioning it feels extreme. If the system rewards the compliant and punishes the unpredictable, compliance starts to look like intelligence. Most people think they work to earn money. In reality, a huge part of work is used to serve time already sold. That inversion rarely gets spoken out loud. You don't wake up asking, what kind of life do I want to build? You wake up asking, how do I not fall behind? And that question quietly governs everything. The job you accept, the city you stay in, the dream you postpone, the risk you label unrealistic. Debt doesn't just create obligation, it creates a default path. It nudges you toward predictability, and predictability is easier to manage than freedom. Watch what happens to ambition under pressure. At first you dream in years, then in months, then in pay cycles. Your imagination becomes a budget, your mind becomes a calendar. Big questions feel dangerous when your margins are thin. So you downsize your vision to match your obligations, not because you stopped wanting more, but because wanting more begins to feel irresponsible. You tell yourself later when things are stable. But stability is a moving target in a system designed to keep you slightly hungry. This is how ownership begins, not ownership of your money, ownership of your behavior. If your next payment depends on you staying in line, you will stay in line. You will negotiate with yourself. You will silence the parts of you that want to disrupt the script. You will become realistic, and you'll wear that word like a badge. Most people don't notice the moment this happens. They just feel older, less curious, less alive, and they mistake that feeling for maturity. The biggest cost of debt isn't the interest rate, it's identity erosion. When your value is measured by repayment ability, you start to internalize a quiet belief. Stability equals virtue, risk equals immaturity, rest equals guilt. Over time, you stop experimenting, you stop learning in public, you stop starting things you can't guarantee will work. Not because you're weak, but because the system trained your nervous system to fear uncertainty. Your routine isn't neutral. It shapes what you crave and what you avoid. Every month you pay, you reinforce a pattern. I will do what I must, even if it cost me myself. Over time, that becomes your personality. You can see it in small decisions. You choose comfort over truth. You choose predictable income over meaningful work. You choose the safe relationship, the safe lifestyle, the safe version of you. And you tell yourself you chose it freely. But take one step back and ask, how many of those choices were made to protect the payment, not your life? Debt also changes your relationship with time. When you owe, time becomes a threat. You stop enjoying slow progress because slow feels risky. You stop enjoying deep work because deep work can't be measured in a week. You begin to crave quick wins, quick proof, quick relief. So you buy convenience, you buy distractions, you buy small hits of dopamine to survive the pressure. And the system smiles because now you pay twice, once with money and once with attention. That's why debt and consumer culture fit together like gears. Debt creates anxiety. Anxiety makes you consume. Consumption makes you need more income. More income makes you accept more obligations. And the loop tightens without ever looking like a prison because the branding is clean and the language is polite. And notice how the pressure doesn't come only from bills, it comes from comparison. You see other people moving forward, buying things, upgrading, posting proof. Debt becomes the quiet fuel that keeps the race looking smooth. You borrow to look like you're winning, then you work to pay for the illusion, then you borrow again when the illusion starts to crack. The system doesn't need you to be happy, it needs you to keep playing. Compounding interest is the financial version of that psychology. It doesn't punish you in one dramatic moment. It rewards the lender slowly, steadily, automatically. The longer you stay inside the agreement, the more the agreement owns your options. That's why a small difference in rate or term can change years of your life. Not because you're bad at math, but because the math was designed to grow in the background while you stay busy in the foreground without you noticing. There's another story that keeps the machine running. The idea of good debt. Student loans are called investment, mortgages are called adulthood, car payments are called necessity. Sometimes a loan can help you buy time or build something real. The danger is what the story does to your mind. It makes debt feel like a rite of passage, like a badge that proves you're serious. So when someone questions it, it sounds childish. How else are you supposed to live? That one sentence turns design into nature. It makes the system feel inevitable. Look closely and you'll see the pattern. Borrowing to fit into the script is celebrated. Study, work, commute, consume, repeat. Borrowing to escape the script is treated as reckless. A loan to buy a home is praised. A loan to buy freedom is mocked. The system doesn't fear debt. It fears unpredictable people. That's how so many end up educated but not empowered, housed but not free, employed but not alive. They didn't just borrow money, they borrowed an identity. Even the language around debt trains you. Minimum payment, credit limit, score. Your life becomes a game where the goal is to be judged as safe. You start caring about a number that measures how obedient you are to a system that profits from your obedience. Credit scores don't measure character, but they shape behavior. They reward consistency, not courage. Repetition, not reinvention. So your nervous system learns, don't disrupt, don't change too fast, don't become hard to predict. The apps feel like comfort, graphs, reminders, a green checkmark. It looks like support, but it can also become surveillance you carry willingly. The most effective control is the kind you maintain yourself, believing it's discipline. If you've ever felt proud simply because you paid on time, notice what that pride is attached to. Survival, compliance, staying inside the lines. If you want to understand debt, don't start with numbers. Start with shame. Debt often carries an unspoken emotion. I'm behind. Even when you're doing fine, even when nothing is wrong, the feeling is there because the system benefits from you feeling behind. A person who feels behind will run. A person who runs won't stop to ask whether the race matters. Once shame enters, control becomes effortless. You don't need someone watching you. You watch yourself. You police your desires. You censor your thoughts. You punish yourself for wanting more time, more air, more life. Most people aren't owned by a bank statement. They're owned by a sentence in their head. If I slow down, I will lose. That sentence is a leash. So what do you do with this without turning it into paranoia? You become conscious. Debt can be used strategically. But only when you stop pretending it's neutral. Only when you see it as leverage, something that will shape you if you don't shape it first. Ask yourself 3 questions. Not financial questions, identity questions. If this debt vanished tomorrow, what would you do differently next week? Not someday. Next week. The answer reveals what debt is currently controlling. What part of your life have you delayed because you needed permission from stability? The answer reveals what you've been trading away. Who do you become when your choices are not optimized for repayment? The answer reveals the self you've been postponing. Many people tell themselves freedom is something they'll earn after everything is paid off. But what if freedom is something you practice before you're ready? What if the reason you never feel ready is because readiness is the product being sold? Try this for the next 24 hours. Notice how many decisions you make to avoid discomfort rather than move toward truth. Notice how often you say, "I can't," when what you mean is, "I can't afford the risk." Then ask one honest question. Is that risk truly impossible, or is it just inconvenient for a system that profits from your predictability? Debt wasn't created to help you. It was created to make you useful, stable, reliable, forecastable. And the scariest part is that it can do all of that while you still feel like you chose it. But you're not powerless. The moment you see the contract, you can renegotiate the relationship. You can stop worshipping comfort as safety. You can stop confusing normal with right. You can rebuild a life where money is a tool again, not a master. Because the real opposite of debt isn't wealth. The real opposite is agency. Agency begins the day you stop asking, "How do I keep up?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming by doing this?" If that question makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort isn't failure. It's the first sign that something in you is waking up.